Welcome to David HaMelech says, I will come with strength. In Tehillim we read that the days of our sojourn in this world is approximately 70 years. The Igud and their strength, 80 Shana, 80 years. Tonight, Chayel, which is the birthday of Shnei HaMalachot HaGedolim, Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, and Chayel, the birth of the Shulchan Aruch HaRabanim Rabbi Mishnei Zalman. Chayel is a time for Igud to bring new Chayel, new life and vitality into our rabbinical organization, which turns 80 years young this year. We were founded in 1942, and now it's 2022. We are 80 years. The Igud we have the strength. There's no strength but the soul. In the congregation resolutions for Chayel E 5782, you have it on your table for September 13, 2022. I'm going to read from number 5, working up to number 1. A very special greeting to our distinguished colleague, Rabbi Basic Learning. He needs no introduction. Everyone knows what he does. Most of us don't know the extent of his work on behalf of Klal Yisrael. So, the recognition of Eretz HaKodesh work in Israel and the diaspora. As the Rabbinical Alliance marks its 80th anniversary since its founding in 1942, 5702, we express thanks to the Creator for all of His kindnesses. We are especially thankful for our esteemed member, Rabbi Basic Learner, a well-known and steadfast leader within the Jewish community. We are honored to recognize him for his own contributions to American and Israeli Jewry through his work within the Eretz HaKodesh sector of the Jewish Agency. We are cognizant of his achievements for Klal Yisrael, mostly behind the scenes, and of his wise and steady leadership. We wish him many more healthy years so that the authentic Jewish voice continue to be heard without rancor nor timidity. The legitimate voice of American Jewry has been heard from very few people who have God's Torah. Thankfully, because of the Eretz HaKodesh in Israel and the diaspora, and thankfully because of the work of the Igud HaRabanim as a political organization coming out, we are today the legitimate voice of American Jewry. And the alphabet of organizations that exist for 50, 60, or even 100 years are slowly but surely becoming obsolete as their leadership does not understand what American Jewry needs today and what support the state and people of Israel need. The third item that we are presenting at this convocation is our support for the Chief Rabbinate of Israel. A lot of print has been spilled, and there are a number of factors of people coming out against the Chief Rabbinate and its institution. We have no better institution to take care of the most important items in the land of Israel. We support fully the Ashkenazi Chief Rabbi Lau, Shalita, and the Sephardic Chief Rabbi, Rabbi Yosef Shalita, and we support these great rabbis because we understand that when they head the rabbinate in the land of Israel, they will make sure to do everything according to halacha. The second item that we have There's a call to Jewish federations and philanthropic foundations to increase financial support of Jewish day schools and high school institutions. Please read it through, and you'll see that the Jewish Federation of Greater New York, which is probably the most well-endowed charitable institution in the metro New York area, gives the least per capita to Jewish education, yeshiva education, high school yeshiva education. And instead of helping yeshiva education, many of their leadership people are together with those kinds of articles that appear in the New York Times that go out against yeshiva day school education. So we're calling upon the Federation again this year to get with the program of Jewish continuity and to nurture our day schools and our high schools and all of the Torah true institutions in the metro New York area and beyond. And finally, the first and most important aspect of this convocation is our unrequited support for the mandate of a moment of silence in all public institutions. America is going through a very cataclysmic situation with crime and disrespect and social upheaval. Sunday, in my shul, in my synagogue, the video about Westport, Western Brooklyn, and Norwalk, we are going to have a police appreciation day with the deputy chiefs and the chiefs of all the towns surrounding our community. They will all be receiving awards. It's being publicized in Fairfield County, and it's a civic endeavor on our part to bring about the importance of law and order in society, the Shem Mitzvahs Me'Nov. Part of the Shem Mitzvahs Me'Nov is the importance of a moment of silence in the public schools. My dear friends, dear colleagues, this is, of course, a very special occasion of Siyum HaShatz. So permit me to conclude with the 1 minute about Torah. Baal Shem Tov says, Ki savo el haaretz, when you will come to the land, and the Medrash says, what is haaretz? Comes from the Lashon Ratzon, desire. Ki savo el haaretz, you will come, you will have a desire to do the will of Hashem. When the Son of Allah, Hashem Lokata, you should know that having a desire to serve Hashem, that's a gift from God. Says the Baal Shem Tov, the Santa B'Hatana, when you get inspiration, a spiritual inspiration, an inspiration to do good, to be with Chasadim, to study Torah, to daven with Minyan, the Santa B'Hatana, make sure that you place it in a basket, make sure you take this inspiration that God gives you on these last days of the month of Elul, prepare yourself wisely for the Yom of Rosh Hashanah and the Day of Kippur. Hashem pray that everyone have a Yeshiva B'Chasima Tova, Yishamat Torah U'Metuka, Manu L'Chol Yisrael, and all the HaRabanim and all the Mishpachot, your families, and that we should go from strength to strength. Eight O's, El Torah, may this celebration of Siyum HaShatz continue to inspire us to live charitably and nobly. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. And we pass the convocation platform. Have a motion. Motion, thank you, Rabbi Schmerler. Pass it unanimous. Thank you. Question the flight on Saturday. Good evening, everybody. It's a big simcha tonight. We are celebrating the 34th annual Siyum HaShatz. I want to start by thanking our Pasha sponsor, Rav Pini Shapiro and his mishpacha. This idea was conceived in 1988, 34 years ago, by the Pasha, Rav Meir Shapiro, our chairman at the time. Unfortunately, Rav Shapiro was in Shemayim the Gan Eden when the first Siyum happened, and the mishpacha for the last 34 years has been sponsoring the Siyum with Nishmas the Rav. Around 2 years ago, the Rebbe's was Nifter, and the added on Rebbe's Yet as well. Before we begin, a very special guest with us tonight, the president of the Starting Lebanese congregation, Mr. Roy Shaker. Please come up for a second. I want to publicly thank you, I believe for the most part, I want to thank the president. This is a beautiful ulam. The walls of this ulam has heard the cover from the Pasha to the Diamond of members of the Igud. The idea of Siyum originated with Hakam Mordechai Eliyahu. It used to be, I remember as a child, the Igud made conventions, even overnight conventions. And the Hakam said, the Rishon Siyum said, when a Rabbanim get together, you don't get together to have a Sukkah's traces until the belly. When you get together, you have the Sukkah, like David and Yom for a Chodesh. And of course, he suggested to make a Siyum Hashas, for all the HaRabanim picked in Sefer. There's been the minhag for the last 34 years as we celebrate. It's also the 80th anniversary of the Igud HaRabanim. We thank you for your hospitality, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Protocol calls. We call upon Rabbi Shmuel to designate someone for the Tehillim. We have a question for Dayan, Rav Kirsch, who will start with Kapitel Kuflamim, Tehillim. We will start with Kapitel Tehillim, Rav Kirsch, please. Now, we always start with the Mora of the Atra of the Chashuva, Starting Lebanese congregation, Agaon of Hakam, Olidolba Shlita, please.
You look here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure for the Sephardic Lebanese congregation to welcome the Igud HaRabanim on its yearly Siyum reception. And we are proud to be hosts for such a prominent and influential organization. This year marks the 18th year of the Siyum in this shul. That is 5 years, and we hope that this year to do the same for more 5 years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, we have introduced just previously our president. I just wanted to let you know, a great young man who in 1 year has done a phenomenal job in leading our synagogue, both in physical structure of the shul, as well as and especially in the spiritual area, where religious programs were developed daily, all ages, many languages, to accommodate every member of our community. He may be young in age, but he has the savvy, the understanding, and proper decision-making of someone twice his age. Again, our president, Mr. Moisheva. Over 6 decades now, our AA has been active in helping to expand institutions of Torah, preaching Sefarim, and speaking publicly to further the cause of Torah. All this development, the growth didn't come for free. It is because of the dedication, the devotion, the vision of a number of leaders who invested much time and effort to achieve such results. One of those great sages and leaders was Rabbi Shapiro. He was a great scholar, a strong and convincing speaker, and a great spiritual leader. So tonight, we thank the Shapiro family for being kind and generous in his memory, for having sponsored this dinner for many years. Once, Rabbi Shapiro said to me, when you talk to your congregants, he said, talk straight. Tell them as it is, especially when it comes to the days of Teshuvah as we have now. I've always followed his advice. So tonight, I'll be talking straight. I'm talking to your congregants, not just you. Every day, twice or 3 times a day, we have Shmoneh Esrei. The Shmoneh Esrei, there are many berachot. Every berachah, if you notice, is a positive thing for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to fulfill. He does. He gives us a sefer. He does it. Everyone like that except one exception, which is when we talk about Teshuvah. It doesn't say Baruch Atah Hashem, Hanoten Teshuvah, Ha'oseh Teshuvah, Harotzeh Teshuvah. Why? Hashem, Teshuvah is in our hands. He doesn't want us to make Teshuvah. He doesn't want to give us Teshuvah. We have to do the step of the Teshuvah. Now, but I know that this we have a big problem. The problem is what I call resistance to change. We get involved every day in a certain routine. We keep that routine all the time. And when it comes to doing a certain change, we just don't do it. We cannot do it. We seem to be unable to change. It's resistant to change every day. Let me give you an example from the Tanakh. As you know, HaRabanim, the first king of Israel, was Rasham Yerusha. He had, Lazar in his place, in his own temple. And one time, he was doing Lazar. Comes a Nabi, he says to him, he wanted to reprimand him. But to rebuke him. So he extends his hand, and tells the people to grab him. What happened? His hand froze. He could not take it back, up or down, it froze. So he begged them, please pray for me. I can take back my hand. The Nabi prayed for him, and the hand was restored. Now, here's a man, a king, who was also a Talmid. He sees a miracle right in front of him. Did he change? He did not change. He didn't change. He kept the same way. There's tremendous, there's a problem with changing our routines. On the other hand, something that's not even human has changed easily. And what's that? You know what happened to David and Goliath? David threw a stone, and the stone penetrated into the iron, the armor of Goliath. But you know something? A stone cannot penetrate. How come it did? Hashem said to the stone, let it penetrate. You say, wait a minute. I was created this way, to resist the stone. Why should I do that? So Hashem, you know what? If you do that, I'm going to reward you with 2 mitzvot. Mitzvot Milah and mitzvot Shechidah. The stone accepted. Beautiful. They accepted it. They changed their nature. The stone, the iron changed its nature to let the stone penetrate. The stone can change. The iron has changed. How much so? We have sefer. We have commands in the soul of Hashem. If we go to the store, we get a zakat. How much more so we should follow? So what's the answer? The answer is, well, he said, you know, best thing to do this. Small steps. Go in small increments. And how I said, Zertal said once, we can learn good things from something that does bad things. For example, you learn from Yetzirah. If that's very diligent, very shrewd, and coming to a person to do evil, we can learn from that to do the right thing. Well, how does this work? The Finnish guy brings a parable. It says like this: a wealthy man was going on a horse in a forest, on a road, beautiful trees, everything around him. And as he was walking, he was going down with his horse, there was a poor man there. And the poor man said to him, please, can I just hold onto the leash while you're going? No problem, why not? Go ahead. After a few minutes, the poor man said, please, I'm too tired. Can I lie on top behind you on the horse? Why not? Go ahead. After a few minutes, he says, oh, it's a beautiful flowers around, I look at the beautiful trees, and in the back you can't see them. Can you come in front? Oh, no problem, fine, come to the front. Finally, he says then, look, I never had the thrill and the excitement to be myself on a horse. Could you come down with me on the horse? Okay, do me a favor. And as soon as he comes down, he runs the doors. Bye-bye. Finished. He says, the Danish guy says that's how the Yetzirah works. Little by little by little. We learn this. If Rabbi says we should learn that in a good way. To do teshuvah, go small steps, small increments. If we do that, in Bezat Hashem, we will be successful. So, Rabotai, we go through Selichot, by us 30 days of Elul, and by you 10 days before Rosh Hashanah, and we go through the Moedim, we do 10 days of Aseret and Teshuvah, and then Yom Kippur, all day, intense fasting and praying. What happens after Yom Kippur? Are we going to change? That's the thing. That is the thing. So let us make a commitment, Rabotai, to overcome the world to change and walk in steps in its own path. It will bring especially improvements in how we do. Be'ezat Hashem, we'll always obey the Kater B'Kater B'Chaim Tovim Shalom. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. Stay 1 second. I'm going to...
There's a mindset many years ago where the alien Chazanish visited the Israel. And when it came time to be Makai Mitzvah Slavia,
and the Brisker Rav wasn't feeling all that well. So he turned to one of his Gaboim and he said, I'm sure this. He said, actually, after you can be allowed to hang the Chazanish after the Ayah Shalom Kemoso. He says, Gavaldi is supposed to represent the Brisker Rav can be allowed the Chazanish Amado. So the Gabbai of the Brisker Rav who went to be allowed the Chazanish and he's walking with Chazanish out of the apartment of the Brisker Rav. And the Chazanish turned to the guy and he says, Yishma. I was Margish Kedusha in the bias of the Brisker Rav. So the Gabbai excitedly hurries back into the apartment. He says, Rebbe, the Chazanish was Margish Kedusha in the bias of the Brisker Rav. The Brisker Rav turned to the Gabbai and says, I understood he was Margish Kedusha because he was here. And once he left, he took the Kedusha with him. I have to say, it's such a Gavaldi Yiskus. It was a number of years ago when the White Show was able to host Going Rabbi Oliver Shlita. Came and delivered a shear in the White Show, and I have to say, on that morning I felt the word Kedusha and the White Show than in any other day. Musmach of the HaRabanim said that something becomes the growth. I've only learned in HaRabanim for many years, and now Baruch Hashem, I'm allowing Torah l'Rabban l'Halbel Torah l'Adira l'Market's Torah She'ei Kamol Roshol into HaRabanim, and simultaneously serving as the Rav from Rasso Kehillah Sartayra Bar. Baruch Hashem, it's a Gavaldi Yiskus that not only did we have the Kedusha from Oliver Shlita the White Show years ago, the Chosh HaRabanim now has the Gavaldi Yiskus of hearing some of the Torah and the service from Oliver Shlita Preserve the Rav Mashgiach on the Bible liturgy.
It's a slice for me today to be here. I'll just say, I'm speaking now because I have two chassidus, because we get the Mat Namatoi across the Skala. I saw a mice reading down. There was once somebody bought a present for his children, say for his wife, blessed his look. For 25 years, in the 50th anniversary, somebody asked him, how could it be that every year you buy a present? Don't skip 1 year. So he answered, because Yana, when he asks a present, she doesn't ask for Pishiduli for herself. She asks something, but I also could have use. So I'm doing it for myself for the last 50 years. What do you see from over here? So someone said, V'shchoidish Elo, we asked for the Rebbeinu Shalom, Gizin, Panos, and everything, for children, for everything. But we have to give the Rebbeinu Shalom also something. So we give something to the Rebbeinu Shalom give to us, just like Yena gave the atonement for 50 years, because he didn't do it himself. So we don't ask for ourselves. We ask in Ganzo Sheshomet for Malchus. If he asks for Malchus, the Rebbeinu Shalom answers Yotzvim. Before Rosh Hashanah, Rabbi said, how could it be better than giving the Rebbeinu Shalom a atonement a Siyum Hashas? What could be nicer than giving a metone a Siyum Hashas? So the Rebbeinu Shalom is mekabel a metone from the Siyum Hashas. Now we can add the Rebbeinu Shalom, we want also metones. Because we're doing something for the Rebbeinu Shalom, we also want metones. We finish now the Masechta, and we said, well, it's a shnash shemenon, mal nifrish memchon. I'm going to speak something about the Nissim we said by the Hanan. So it's a shnash shemenon, no, it's a shnash. What does it mean? So there's a Maaseh of one of the Sergei Neves, like the Chassidim. They went to a place, and they had the Malchi should march out. They wanted to kill that Reise Engelke from Sadiger. So they said, one of the government people, he demanded to watch out to make sure and he passes by the border. He passes by, and the Malchus says, this is the Rabbiner, this is the big Rabbiner. So they asked him, the boss, the candidate asked him, where is his Bible? The Havdul was saying, he almost go with the Bible. Why does he go around with the Bible? So he answered him, his Bible is in his heart. He doesn't have to hold it in his hand. Und damals gesagt, einer von der Rebbe, das im Schat, du kore boi, anstatt boi Siyum, du kore boi kore bechai. The toilet has to be boy in him. You don't carry it in. So we finish up the section, we finish now Shasra by side. We say, it's Shnashin alone. The toilet was in us. Those outside the toilet when they end Shas. I once said over when we make a Hadan, we say Hadan alone, the Dat alone. I once said over, what's the double ocean? Hadan alone, I'm going to come back to you. I think maybe I said it was the Dat alone. I'm thinking of you. So I remember Erich Abusi was lifted a few weeks ago, the Shemaya Shor, of Shor's oldest son, and we learned with Abusi, that was something more before. So he made us see him, we said Hadan alone, we made sure to say, believe that. I should say that. I remember. Hadan alone, believe that. What's a double lotion, the Hadan alone, and that alone. What's a double lotion, that alone? He said a motion, a mother goes away from the child, to a chasanim, and he says to the child, I'm going to be back soon. And the baby, the kid asks, I don't leave you, he says you're going to be back. The mother says, don't worry. The mother gets excited. Today we have cell phones. But the son you remember used to be the payphones. And we used to call the payphone, hello, call the babysitter, how does the child feel? So we tell the babysitter, and we tell the leader that I'm leaving over, don't worry, we're going to come back. And I am going to come back because I'm going to call you every hour. I'm thinking of you. If I'm thinking of you, I'm going to come back. When we finish Shas, Dotman Hadan alone, we're going to come back. Fresh Shas, I don't need you. You're going to come back. Young, I will reach that. So we see, you know what? That no more. I'm thinking of you. Now, thinking of you, I'm going to come back. Baruch Hashem, for last year's Siyum, we all said Hadan alone. That was last year. But we can also said the Dat alone. So this year, when we come also, the Dat alone, doing it again. And we should do more and more to make this Siyum. I said over once, maybe I said over here, but I said it a few times, I'm waiting because the game of the Pasha, I can say it this week home. Steht, Bavini Masse, he said this week, Osiso Kachol Ashtasis. I did everything what I could. I'll ask you a question. I should be able to say, Bamilion Kippur or Sisi the Cholash in the sun. You can say it. And here, this is Bidi, but can't. It's a Bidi nice. I can do the Cholash in something. So Pshat is with a motion somebody gave. If someone asks, the boss asks, because where you can make me a coffee. See that? So what does the worker do? She makes a coffee. Let's say the father asks, make me a coffee. So the son is going to ask, make me one a lemon with it. If the sugar you wanted it, you want a piece of cake with it, what's the difference? Everybody does what the father wants. He listens, but the boss wants. He does everything. He doesn't miss anything. But he only does what the boss wants. But when you with the father, I want to give him more. What's the difference? But the word that saying, the son for the father does, the rotzen shall my father. He sees the Vidi Maise is only did the Cholash Suni. I did everything what he told me, only because he told me. A Ben does more. A Ben does what? A Ben does more the Rotz. Them is the empty, beautiful, the Gemara. The Gemara affect Akash, we say every 2 times a day, Krishna. Vohoyim Shemoya Tishni al Mitzvoisai, Asher Noichi, all the mitzvahs, Vesafto the Genecho. Frag the Gemara Akash, he says Vesafto the Genecho, you have to do it. In a different place says that you have work to do it. So the Gemara kam be'oisim v'soyne shalmokim, kam be'ein oisim v'soyne shalmokim. So I'm asking you Akash, v'haftes Hashem al-Kev, vo'im shemoyim, it's called mitzvoisai, and they're called ein oisim v'soyne, yes. And think alle mitzvahs, gewaltig, it doesn't miss it. But that's about it. But the Klal Yisrael, the Safta the Genecha, ein oisim v'soyne shalmokim. But the Tzoyne Shamokim, we didn't have people with. Those are the Vidi Mais, we only did the Rossen, we only did Svisoni. That's why Babilum steht, Lo Yevarti es Pi Hashem. Bilam Aroshe, I was only not only with Pi Hashem, but I didn't do more when I have to. If you do something more as Simi you wanted, the Tzoyne Shamokim. That's why when you make a Siyum Hashas, people have stolen, people listen to Shirim, but they very accident together with a rabbi. That was says, Oisim Ritzoin Oishal Mokim. If we do the Rosh Shalmokim, that was says, I'm a Lachta Yachem. Those are the husband from Ritzoin Shalmokim and Ein Oisim Ritzoin Shalmokim. So it can tell you about Machin the Siyum Hashas, before Rosh Hashanah, we say the Rabbeinu Shalom, we make a Siyum Hashas, because we're oisim ritzoinoi shalmokim, more than we need. You can learn in Daf HaYoyim, you can learn those, but we're doing more than we need. This is called oisim ritzoinoi shalmokim. If it's oisim ritzoinoi shalmokim, we do our brochim and our shemayim special. There's most to talk, but I said I'm not going to be malach. The Boy Hashem should help, we should always do oisim ritzoinoi shalmokim. I'll just mention someone before I left. Someone told me a nice story, so they get Ellen to say it. He says that Skim Ellen with no shayfu b'mach Ellen. There was once a mice, somebody was in the middle of the street with his car, and everybody was leaving, and he didn't answer anything. So someone thought nobody's in the car. So he goes in the car, and he says, they're beeping. It means me? I didn't know this. Sie can dort again Ellen, Blue Schäufe, mit die Talent, Musik mit Hashemoyim, but it means me? You have to know that all seems but to do Ellen. Yes, it means me. It means us. So the Lord Hashem can get together and all of the other Avodas and Kodesh, Mamish, mit der Beziehung Nefesh. Oifei, Kodesh und Kodesh couldn't be a greater schis to make a Siyum Hashas for Rosh Hashanah. This is the always Bishyoiche to be the Ritzoinoi Shalmokim. And Baruch Hashem, we try to do the Ritzoinoi Shalmokim. Hashem Zoiche Metz Hashem, as a Zayin Aksive Bachsive Toive, Hashem be a Shnas Gile Meishir, Hashem Zoiche, a Shnas Simche, and be a Zoyot Tzedek, and Hevel Yemei Amen.
Over 3 decades ago, I had the schus to enter my alma mater, Yeshiva Snei Yisrael in Baltimore. And when I came to Yeshiva Snei Yisrael in Baltimore, unfortunately, I didn't have the schus to learn my recruitments and Hatzani with Rofal. But when I entered the walls, the Coastly Beis HaMedrash, there was a legendary name. And that legend about whom everybody spoke, the Avrechim, the Omalite, someone who had call-ups or cool on his fingertips, Shas Levatayim Alpeh was none other than Adon, Rav Shmuel Shulman said at Tzadik L'Bruch. As Am tell us, Erevim Navayim Arbeis, Ramshir Tzubitz, Tzadi Beis Arbeis, the idea of Bro Yossi Davuah, the song is the metaphorical, is the figurative leg, the extension of the Father. Ask for Chukas Hatzal, it is Pachan Yitzchok, Igud Susolim, and Igud Reishim Ameis, ask for Chutar. Out of all the choice Ramach Evorim, why did Chazal highlight, why turn the spotlight, the Dafko, on Bra Korid Yahuah? The Hainu means the figurative leg of the father. Why not the arm extension? Why not the eye? Why is it the Dafko specifically highlighting Bra Korid Yahuah? He is the leg of the father. Explain the Buddha and liberation of days. Because the Nabi Zechariah tells us in Paragimel, Pasuk Zayin, and Asoti L'cham Alichim Le'ya'unim Ha'elah. The contrast between someone alive versus someone who already met his demise is that someone alive is on the road to Shleimus. His beginner is considered a Hilech. Leich L'shol, the Gemara says in the end of Brothers and Zalman Dalit. He's ascending, always going Me'choyel L'choyel La'elah La'elah. He's a Hilech in contradistinction to the Malachim described. Where in the appellation are Odim, there needs something. A man knows a Holech, but when a person passes from this world, he is no longer a Holech, no longer does he have the opportunities to learn Torah, to commit to Samas and but he leaves over a son. And that son's up to Hunar Bakari Yahuah, who will be the headship of the sense of being the leg, the bit out for the leg to be manship, the Koach Halicha Viter, he will extend the ability to move, to grow, to shine, to run. That's part of the Yahuah. Hands on your heel with the stern. And it's safe from the shoulder, and not from Yud. It's not simply the leg, but it's the knee. The knee that you're on is that aver that's responsible for the Koach HaKfitza, the ability to jump, explains on your heel with the stern. He'll leave over a Hosh Son. Not simply is he taking the Avodas HaKodesh and leaving on Torah. The unparalleled Mitzvahs Mas Tovim of HaRabanim Shmael Shomar Zechatzadik the Kodesh LaBrucha. You leave over a son like the Heged or Yaakov Shulman Shliti Yevodah L'Chayim Tum Shalom. It's not simply the Koach Halicha Vaytor in a horizontal plane. It's the Brok Kara Davua, the Koach HaKvitza, the Koach to empower and enable the Haley Gatanti who is lifting the Ganeva Shamayla to jump, Darga after Darga. When the Gemara is supposed to hear tonight, the Messiah in the Shabbos. Learned by so many here, we have this course of hearing out from Yaakov Shomar Shlita. The Igud Messiah in Shabbos, and we have the Shabbos Tavshin Bebeis, a Musmach of HaRabanim, the one who founded my alma mater, Yeshivas Nei Yisrael. Rav Shomar served for 20 years as the Rav of the Lord Asher Congregation, Talmud Torah of Flatbush. And during that time, he served simultaneously on the basement of the HaRabanim of Flatbush, currently a Brazilian member of the Igud HaRabanim, as well as Nasi of its basement. When the Gemaldik and Kovet and Sus tonight to be Mishtantei to the Yachid, that the Simcha of the Achdus, together with the Rabbanim of the Igud HaRabanim, and to dedicate tonight's Siyum HaShas to another, Yaakov Shulman's illustrious renowned father, the Haley Gatanti, and Shmael Shulman Zechatzadik the Kodesh LaBrucha. Considered a legendary figure in Israel, one of the closest Talmidim of Rosh Hashiva, prolific Mechaber Sfarim, served as the honorary president of the Igud. One of the highlights since I've been a part of the Igud was when I spoke years ago in Yeshiva South Shore and had this source of talking and learning thereafter with HaGomer Shmael Shmuel, who had many horrors of what I spoke about. And I can tell you, if I wasn't in a rush, I could have spent 3, 4, 5 hours talking with him already, just addressing the horrors and how so he had on what we discussed that evening. Because there isn't a topic in Shas, in Alter Kula, that he couldn't go ahead and talk a massive amount of until the late hours of the night. So what is Shus if we can't hear tonight from the Haley Gatanti, Bro Kara Davua? We have the Hemshech, the Holech, it takes that Avodas HaKodesh, that Avodas HaTorah, to give all these Shus and come with me on behalf of the Chosh, the Igud HaRabanim, to introduce to you as the Messiah of Shas, I'm going to Yaakov Shulman.
Tonight we're dedicating the Siyum HaShas to the Zikaron of my father, Rav Shmael Shulman, Hareini Kapar Asmashvali. As Rabbi Hecht mentioned, the theme of tonight, indeed this year, the Igud HaRabanim, is the Imid Vurais. We are 80 years strong. And I thought it would be appropriate to mention the pasuk in Tehillim, from where this motto comes from. Yemesh Noisayim Bahem Shivim Shana. We're all familiar with this. The Igud Shmayim Shana. It says the Malbim is Pirush on Sefer Tehillim. Yemesh Noisayim, regular years, Chayim Regilin. 70 years, that represents the average normal lifespan of a human being. That is Shivim Shana. The Igud Gvurais, this is Chaim She'enim Regilin, Aylam Ateva. This already is something beyond the ordinary, beyond the expected. I was thinking of organization. 70 years is a long time. The founders are no longer around. The times have changed. The issues that HaRabanim deal with now are different than 70 years ago. We've come to a new tkufa in this galus. And for the same organization to be around, vibrant, now growing, in a growing phase, thanks to the people who are now oisik in it. I want to particularly mention the Moshe Shmurler and the Barachnik for their untiring, unending efforts at reviving and strengthening and revitalizing the Igud. So this is Shmayim Shana. We are now certainly L'maylam Ateva, Chaim She'enim Regilin, beyond what we normally expect. And I thought it would be appropriate to say over Dvar Torah briefly before we get into the actual Siyum. Something that goes back 80 years to 1942. This Dvar Torah has a pedigree, as my father, or any father would say. He heard it at the Chanukas Habayis of Yeshiva Ner Yisrael, 1942. They moved to a new building, Garrison Boulevard. And for a week, it was a celebration of this momentous Torah event, Middle World War II, at Nine Yeshiva. Rav Kotler's Karnaval came to speak. For some reason, the Rav HaRabanim of Eretz Yisrael, Herzog's Karnaval was in America, made his way back across the Atlantic, somehow, back to Eretz Yisrael. When he spoke, they all said Shiur. Rebbe Eliezer Silver said the following. The Mishnah, as we know, in Gittin says, in Kaisum b'mechul l'karka, cannot write a get b'mechul on a tree and then cut down the tree. Why? Says the Gemara. I'll state in Pasuk, the chasav law sefer krisus v'nosav liyoda. There can only be two actions: the chasav v'nosav. Yotzes azu shemechusar ksiva ketzitza v'siva. Well-known Ma'ir Chazal, that between the writing and the giving cannot be any other action. Here you have to chop down the tree and pull it off of the mechuber. In fact, there's another Mishnah in Gittin, she can write her get. She is makneh to the Baal. He then gives it to her. So what? In fact, what do you see? The ksiva is then interrupted by the haknah, and then the ksiva. Why don't we say the exact same thing? Yotzes zushem chusar ksiva haknah u'nesina. And for the Ran, a kinyan and a get, changing the ownership of the get, is not a nice and a gufa get. You separated from the chuber, you've done an action in the get, so you wrote the get itself, you cut off the get itself, you gave it. But haknah is not in the get, it's between the husband and the wife. So it's the answer to the Ran. Here, there's a concept in Afraim. We have two Mishnahs in the Masechet Chulin. One is Kisi Adam, the first Mishnah. Kisi Adam noyeg b'chulin aloi b'medosha. When you shaft chayev ha'oif, you have to come to the dam. Only if it would be an oif, obviously not chayev. Any bird that is hektish or touching, you can't. So the Gemara says, why? Hashtag, the shafat has damar, chisol v'afar. It's only when you have shvicha and kisur. Yotzes azu, shemechusar shvicha, Pedio, the Kisui. Here, what I have to do, I have to employ I have to raise ice that bird from the hektish and give it, so that the pigeon gets in the way of the shvich and the sinah. This has to. Similarly, with Rishon, I guess, you give the first shearing of the sheep to the kohen. State Rishon gave sign chotiten law. It's not the Mishnah. It's only the chulin, not the kedusha. Why? Exact same reason. Because there has to be the ziza and the sina. You shear it off, you immediately give it to the kohen. If it would be hektish, you would need pigeon in between. I would have to cut off the wool, be paida, and then give it. According to the Ran, Hakanah is not a chesaron. There is no break in the action between the giving and between the writing and the giving of the get. All she does is she takes it from her and gives it to the husband. Hakanah is not a chesaron. That's not like the tzitza. So over here, the pigeon also obtains the shus of the hektish, the shus of chulin. Shein Akasha. The Lezer Shilta Genzit. He says there's a chiluk between a hakanah of chulin and a pigeon of hektish. Pigeon of hektish shaft a shinoi and the cheftza itself. Oh, very deep idea. When I make a kinyan and bakul and those are mine, just yours. The object is the same. The cloth for the get, same cloth. When I am playing the hektish, it is no longer a devar hektish, a davish kedusha. Davar chulin is a different cheftza, something different entirely, different object. And that constitutes a hefsek. That is a break between the shticha, the shchita of the bird, and the kisur ba'afar, or the shearing of the wool, and giving it to the kohen. Changing from hektish to chulin, we have to understand that hektish makes a shinoi in the hefsek. And I was thinking, the HaRabanim, who represent the kedusha in their kehillah. The Rav is a davish of kedusha, is a cheftza that represents and is a model to the rest of the kehillah. This is how I would like my children to perceive the Rav. I would like them to grow up like him, to emulate him. The manner in which he approaches life, which is imbued with Torah, with kedusha, is a model for the entire kehillah. That was the message that my father and the Paras Mishkader heard 80 years ago from one of the great Rabbanim in America, the Leslie Silver of Cincinnati is running from. It's relevant today. In the Gvura Yishmayim Shana, it doesn't age. It is alive and fresh today like it was then. That is our message. Each Rav needs to see himself as that kedusha, that cheftza, giving over the Torah Hashem. And finally, one pasuk we find by Yaakov Avinu, and perhaps this echoes Rabbi Feiner Shlita just mentioned. The Aviv Shomar es Hadavar. His father Yaakov anticipated, waited until Yosef's nevuah would come true. Ramah learns the dreams were a nevuah. Aviv, my father, Shomar, Lashon Shmaryo, es Hadavar, that my approach in learning, in life, Yiddishkeit, came directly from my father. I had the great schus to learn our rudiments of Bracha and to be in Yeshiva Ner Yisrael all the years, and at the same time, I gained those teachings and the way he interacted with other Rabbanim, who I saw right before me all the time. And when he was on the Bezdin here at the Igud, and the Nasi HaKavod, the honorary president, all of that had a hashpah, and I, Baruch Hashem, gained that. And in some small way, I hope I'm able to give back what I learned and share what I know when I work with Igud Rabbanim. This Siyum, therefore, should be Laliyas, Rishmasai, and should be indeed, as the Gulager said so eloquently, the Matana that we give to the Rebbeinu Shalom now in prayer show. So let us now yes, I'd like to call up Rav Penny Shapiro, son of Rav Meir Shapiro, who is going to be reciting the Kaddish at the end of the scene. So let's learn the last two lines in Masechta Nida, the conclusion of Shas. Tana de Eliyahu. We learned from Eliyahu Hanavi. Kol Hashayim halachas b'chol yayim. Someone who learns halachas every day, mufta fleish ben olam haba. He is guaranteed to be admitted into olam haba. Shenemar halichos olam loy. Pasuk Habakkuk, that the steps of the world are his. What does that mean? I'll take halichos ela halachos. The halachos that we learn each day, and Tosfos here says that it's not necessarily the Girsa of every Gemara, this last piece. However, Rashi is right, and Tosfos himself, the Tam, had it in his Sefer, and the reason is, it was the very conclusion of the Masechta Nida, is regards halachas, and as a matter of fact, the Maharsha adds, because you know from Mishnah and Pirkei Avos, Pismei Nida Hine Gufei halachas, so therefore we end off with a comment on learning halacha. You learn this halacha every day, then oil haba. It is halicha. It is constantly moving. No such thing as a halacha. I know it and it's over. There's always something new. There's a Rav, you know. You encounter a Shiloh, you may have answered what you think that Shiloh a few times already. But it's not, because you're not answering the Shiloh. We're answering the Shiloh. The one who asks the Shiloh, him or her, we're answering. And that is something new. Because halichos, the halachas are constantly walking and going and continuing to grow. Hadron halach. Hadron halach, shisha sidra nishna, hadron halach. Hadron halach is shisha sidra nishna, hadron halach. And Sasha halach is shisha sidra nishna, Sasha halach. Actually, it's all Shas. Hadron halach Shas, hadron halach. Hadron halach Shas, hadron halach. Sasha halach, Talmud Bavli, Sasha halach. Hadron halach Talmud Bavli, hadron halach. Hadron halach Talmud Bavli, hadron halach. One is Sasha halach, Talmud Bavli, Sasha halach. But Bavli, Bavli, Ratzel will never let him look at him. Today, the Ratzel will say, well, it's a same on the me about Papa, I'm about Papa, not Papa. I'm married about Papa, Sure, Papa, I'm about Papa. I read not the language of the so the funeral feels kind of a basic Israel. Me about the one and so say it's a sample basic Israel. The one year they should have all the service I thought. The Ibis and I mean, so self, the well mean lead. The beat, talking to Kathal, Malay Weish, Loyal Nashak, the Death, the one to Sunny, Berlat, the eye, like the Kathal, Amen, so what? Fine, the laugh of the left, no label of saying, which is something the Cambridge was Medrish, or like something of Cambridge, Chronoise, John Machine, Machine, on Machine, the Retire, Hey Machine, Gordon Taylor, on the name of him, on the name of Kansar, and the name of Kansar, on Watson, Hey Watson, on Watson, the Hey Watson, Shachas, Shemot, or later, Shachas, and should have been really so many like Bach. You're also the friend of the high, Kishay, Shazartonu, science, the science, Talmud Bavli, King Tazreinu, Hassel, and second source of Temple, Simon. Full Manalam, which one's his friends, will do something, something I have. Susal, Tanoi, Marod, Sabit Khamim, Yam, Lonul, Zarino, Shalisam, Shakram, Yukinu, Zarino, Zarino, Royal. Sky and bottom is a lot of Tantoiso. The Shaf, the Khatish Malach, like Kisoisi, Tisitata. You need a great method to see who Kashno is dying. Ours, when you begin all this while, she will come by. I know yours, when you say, I know you're right. So I know you're sure.
I just want to, 1 second please, I wanted to thank Rav Mendel, Rav Meinshel here, two young chevron who rejuvenated this organization and building it up beautifully. Baruch Hashem. Thank you very much. I want to thank all the HaRabanim for doing a great job for keeping the organization alive, especially for the young blood over here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just wanted to add, I forgot to say before, that I'm sure the father of Shalom, Rabbi Heft of Shalom, Rabbi Josefi of Shalom, are kvelli, as they say, and enjoying this moment very much.
Put together Gam Shas, all of Shisha and Mishnah. What does he begin with? Out of all topics, out of all time mitzvahs, Rebbe decides to commence to begin Gam Shas with what? He starts the dafka with the mitzvah, the araisa of Kriya Shema of Arvis. Out of all time mitzvahs, Rabbeinu HaKodesh, why were you marvish the tzarech to begin Achbarav with Kriya Shema? Writes the Taisus Anshe Shem, writes the Cherushi Arim in the Secret Schools, Rav Tzadok HaKohen, Tzidkas HaTzadik, and Ozdaleh, V'or Kama Mefarshei HaMishnah. The reason Rebbe began with Kriya Shema is because a boy becomes a Bochur Bar Mitzvah in the night of Yud Gimel Shonah V'Yalecha, and the first mitzvah that comes his way, the first mitzvah, the Arais, is that the Kriya Shema, the Arvis. Hence, Rebbe was marvish the Tzarech to begin Shas, the Dafka with the first mitzvah, when a Bochur Bar Mitzvah in the night of Yud Gimel Shonah V'Yalecha steps up to Gadlus, he begins with Kriya Shema, the Arvis. Aye, but here we turn to this week's parsha. Parshas Kisofo. And we read in Perach Ches, Posik Mem Zayin, that all of the callers come our way, let's turn back to Sam Sefer. The Heilige Sam Sefer writes in his Sam Sefer on the Torah at the very end of Parshas Vayechi, he says over Shtikl, that he said at a bar mitzvah of one of his sons. Sam Sefer says that the first mitzvah the Araisa Bochur has when he gets to that the milestone of Yud Gimel Shonah V'Yamechad is the mitzvah of Simcha, and it's Chagai mitzvah Sasei the Araisa. Sam Sefer, why did the Torah spell it out? But words the Heilig of Sam Sefer, had the Torah made it Baruch Bircha Ketana of Azura mitzvah Sasei, that we would feel an all. We don't want to feel any O's of the Sam Sefer, just the Simcha. So which one is it? Is it Kriya Shema and Simcha? Comes for Pinchas Freeman, the Heilige Machaber of the Shira Pinchas. And the Sefer of B'nai Avda, Maimer Chavod, he says that some Sefer Abad agrees to the Taisus Anshe Shem, to the Tzadik, to the Chiddush V'Hod. What the Sam Sefer means is, when you Makabel Omach B'Shamayim, when you get to that age, and you start with the first mitzvah, Sasei the Araisa, of Kriya Shema the Arvis, how are you Makabel Omach B'Shamayim? Do you get up, hold open that siddur and say, hey, Rishon, thank you for the greatest gift in the history of the world. Thank you, Hashem, Thank you for the Omar Chushamayim. Thank you for making me a Yid. Thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that you gave me the Omar Chushamayim and the Omitzvahs and your Mekabel and Al-Atzmacho, the Simcha, the Tubleva. That together that's the intention. That's the first mitzvah to say to Rabbi. And here we are journeying into Parshas Yisroel, with the Gemal of the Yavkis and the Simcha of the Siyum Shas, and the Simcha of the Yavkis of so many Rabbanim around the area. So Siyam and Shmaya, let's turn quickly to the opening Mishnah of Shas. After all, the real Simcha writes the Sam Sefer. And it's Chedushei HaShas at the end of Brachos Hamadal and Amalalev. Zot Ha'elik Sam Sefer, the Igud Mitzvah HaSimcha. And in time we come to a Siyum, it's not the Simcha of finishing. It's actually the Simcha of beginning anew. And when we come together, we celebrate it through this mitzvah on the Siyum. Then it brings Gemaldik of Yuchadik Siyam B'Shmaya to have a Haschol of Chodesh with Ruach HaKodesh, he writes. And a murder of Siyam B'Shmaya to go weiter. The Ezer Hashem Vegas and Shochosh L'Mayim and the Chosh L'Siyam HaShas. The Ezer Kavioch should continue. After the Siyam B'Shmaya and El Atem L'Chol Yom Hayom to the Chosh L'Igud HaRabanim, so that the Avodas HaKodesh can continue. Eila is called said in by eternal attention. Name aside Kohen Hashem Arben, when we saw him, Misham Shalom, and across the Malchot to Moslem, and so Pashtur Yishon Yedivir Rabbi Eliezer. We begin with Rabbi Eliezer's statements. We start from when the Kohanim enter to eat in the Tumah until the end of the Ashur Yishon, and the Gemara discusses later, Gilom and El, Bachlekas, breaking up the night into 3 and 4 different Tashlums. The Chomer we have until Chatzot, so later is on, Gamliel says even later, Achiyana Amar Shokar continues the Tana. My simple one of the Beis HaMishkah, this songs that Gamliel came from a Chasna. Although they turn to the head of the top and they say, look, Kriya Shema, we haven't yet recited the Kriya Shema Arba Samuel. So Gamliel responds in the whole Omer Shokar, Chayuv V'natzim Ligros. You're still a boy until you get to Omer Shokar, those who will Omeru. Hello, way beyond the scope of some Kriya Shema. Koma Shomer Chachoma Chatzos, and Smosan Hashayal Omer Shokar, anytime Chachom told you, until Chatzos, yes, tomorrow later on, and Dalad Reis, you'll have to come in Aveiro, but if Abba limits until Omer Shokar, Hector Chom and the Evorim, on the staff, no Chom, and Smosan Hashayal Omer Shokar, Cholam Cholim, the Yom Echod, and Smosan Hashayal Omer Shokar, I-C-K, Amaram Chatzos, you'll have to come in Aveiro, separate the three together as the Yah, and the Malach, the person from an Aveiro, should be so you can make Hashem to come together for many Siyum and Mikam Lahavo to celebrate the Siyum and front many Asolas, Shekaya to the Igud, Shekaya, by Vaikam, and Choyel, and Yisrael Tzedek, Meira, Yemeir,
The World Zionist Organization in Israel is an entity that has a $1 billion a year budget. For most of these years, most of that money, I need everyone's attention, please. My promise of 4 minutes is only going to This organization has $1 billion a year budget, and for close to 100 years it was controlled by center-left. And for many years, and for many actions, they did things that were not good for Torah Judaism. With the direction of Chaim Kanievsky, and Yibola Chaim of Gershon, we entered the system. And we didn't know what we were getting into. Now we know what we're getting into. I ask one thing. On your tables is a brochure. Brochure was created for this evening. It's a brochure of Sur Meirav Ha'asei Tov, taking away the bad and trying to do some good things. I ask you, take one home and read it. If you take one home and read it, you'll see what we're doing. If there aren't enough brochures, my colleague and I will walk around and have some extras. That's all I ask. Take it home with you and read it, see what we're doing, and pay attention. attention, and Mr. Hashem, you'll wish us Hatzlacha. In 2 years, when the election comes up again, you'll vote, but you'll know why you're voting and what you're voting for. Thank you very much.
I know Gil might not talk to me after tonight, but I have to say publicly, the Seishes Yanu, the Kimanu, the Yanu, and the Igud HaRabanim, and revitalizing ourselves, rejuvenating ourselves. As a Shulman would say, a firm Rabbanim organization for Rabbanim, to help Rabbanim, by Rabbanim. There are some people behind the scenes who work very hard, and they don't want the fanfare. And one of them is the director of the local commission of HaRabanim students, who actually have the presentation. This is a special decker with a description. Please hold it up here. I'm going to ask the President, Rabbi Shulman, Rabbi Elbaz, Rabbi have to come up for a moment. Rabbi Blank, come up for a moment. Rabbi Elbaz, come up for a moment. I'm going to have Rabbi have read the inscription.
The inscription reads, Ot HaKara, Kos Shel Bracha, L'hai Gav Rabbanim, L'hai Igud HaRabanim d'Amerika, L'hai Rabbanim, L'hai
This is going to have one of the leading Igud Israel, going around Herschel Welcher. From Welcher, besides being a Rav, serves as the congregation of Kahal Habas Yisrael in Queens. He also serves the Shivas Rabbanim and helping Rabbanim, training Rabbanim, molding Rabbanim. The whole book of the Igud HaRabanim is an organization for Rabbanim, of Rabbanim. As Rabbi Shulman said, the challenges of 80 years ago are not the same challenges today. In 1942, we have pictures and documentation of Rabbi Turk, Rabbi Pelkovitz, Rabbi Fein's predecessor, and other Hashem Rabbanim who marched together with the older organization that was Rabbanim in Washington. We have a long history of activism. Was Rabbi Hef advocating for Soviet Jewry, Syrian Jewry? Was Rabbi Hollander working with Bob Shrugging on other important issues? Was Rabbi Shapiro, Rabbi Josefi, full of activism? Right now, the Chatzaitzers of this generation are different than they were 80 years ago. Rabbi Welcher mentioned 60 years ago a personal story. My father remembers in Yeshivas Chaim Berlin, the challenge in the late 50s, early 60s, you had the Yiddishists. And the goal was to run in a cheder around 200 mitzvahs. And many times the parents wanted from the Alta Hain to have a Talmud Yiddishkeit, a Yidred Yiddish. And fortunately, from the yeshivas being open-minded 60, 70 years ago, we stand on their shoulders and say, we're going to listen from the Yiddish. So the whole book of the Igud HaRabanim, whether it's being Rabbanim B'Shtelus, classrooms, chaplains, pastors, activism, is Rabbanim for Rabbanim. I know Rabbi Shulman, Rabbi Blank have undertaken the yeoman's task of coming up with new chatzaitzers, the Nayadar is a hard task. I'm sure we call upon the welcome of clients to join that sound of how to get the glass and chatzaitzers to glass correctly. On that note, as we glass shleifer into the next 80 years, BS will send it hopefully way before then. Hopefully we'll have the meeting, this convocation, Shleifer Kodesh next year. On that note, without further delay, the reign of the Rav, the reign of the Rav, the Herschel Welcher Shleifer.
Good evening, Rabbi Isai. It's very special to be here in a gathering of Rabbanim, Shem Shemayim, Shem Kushas HaTorah, Shem Klal Yisrael, in the midst of Chodesh Elul, as we prepare for Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Shulman aptly noted from the Malbim, the Matzaviki, makes a similar remark. Who writes, the Matzavik, besides Baruch Barzilai, Giladi was already 85 years old already. He said, can I expect to be here? And that's the mile of the Kuros. The mile of the Kuros is that we didn't anticipate. The founders are no longer with us. yet the sphere, the Igud's testimony to what they accomplished, and the dreams and their goals, is unlimited existence, and we carry forth their work. Idor and Tudor is given. The Pusik, in Shayim, has varied pronunciations. Koyri Hashem lefidu koyach, Koyri Hashem lefidu, I'm not getting involved with the Igud, the Radak, and others, however one wants to pronounce it. But the Pusik ends with Koyri Hashem lefidu koyach, the Aver of the shore, they take wing, like the eagles. In the Radak, in Shayim, sights, beside the Goyim. The pshat of the Pasuk is the following: that the eagle has cycles, 10-year cycles in his life, and it reaches high points, and then it goes down again, and it rises again, and each decade it has its hatches. In the words of Rosati going to Yoshua without movement, it comes back to the purpose of earlier life until it completes its lifespan. This is marked each decade. Is a rejuvenation, fresh step forward, reminiscent of how it was 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, and it still goes forward. Celebrate the Furais of a rabbinic organization, and especially the Hischachus that's taking place, certainly worthy of the words of Rosadim of Yoshua Without that we're going back to the dreams, the curses of those that founded the organization, set its course. And as Rosh mentioned, the challenges of the Lord are different. So we undertake with their spirit and their perspective, the Hashkofa, the Saturno, the Muran, the Baruch, to carry forth the banner of Torah into the coming generation, and to engage the challenges of this generation, and to inspire it no less than to inspire previous generations. Coming together, Rabbanim, joining together as a Rabbin, is a phenomenal thing. The Yuma tells us that when Yeshua ben Nun waited at the foot of Har Sinai for Moshe Rabbeinu, that he had a spus that he received the most, a special spus. Chaim Shmulevitz and Tzaddik the Rocha asks, why do you need a special spus? Was he different than every other member of Klal Yisrael? There were 600,000 Jews, everyone was raised in one. So why is it that the Shas tells us that Yeshua had a special spus to receive the most? The reason is that he was separated from the rabbis. He was not together with Klal Yisrael. And the greatest reason in the world is Yeshua and Moshe that he shouldn't be one extra second away from Moshe Rabbeinu, that could alter the entire service of Klal Yisrael, who were away an extra second from Moshe. And yet, he was chutz l'machana. He stood at the foot of Har Sinai, away from everyone else. He did not have special rabbis. Consequently, the Shas tells us he needed his own spus to get the one. Person, we go together with the rabbi, we share the spus with the rabbi in the deepest sense. And it's something that's almost frightening from Chaim Shmulevitz, the Sefer as a Torah from Chaim Shmulevitz. We recounted during his lifetime, and I understand the growth, and Shmulevitz Tzaddik the growth of was where he was Chaim. Escaped from Europe with them. Chaim Shmulevitz Tzal writes what he observed in their escape from Italy, to Japan, and to China. That those Talmidim that stayed in Yeshiva and didn't take one step away from it were safe. It says there were Talmidim that ate Cheshbonis, Hashem Shemayim. They wanted to go a few miles away to say so long to their family. They didn't know if they would see them again, when they would see them again. And they went off a few kilometers to wish farewell to their family. And many of them did not return. Those that stayed with the rabbi steadfastly are the ones that were merged and protected them. They knew no home. They arrived, they left Russia, they came to Japan, they came to China, and they arrived in the United States. we have with our understand the depth of the source of the Rambam is Hilchos Tshuva. The Rambam writes that Siyum goes much in Soyak in the late Sholem, as long as the Dav in the late Sholem, of the world was the Kabbalah Tzvus. The Vader is the Kasha, the more Taina says that a person needs late Sholem without the Yechidus. When Kel Kabbalah Leimos, the Tfilas HaRabanim is always the Kubbalah. So why does it need to have late Sholem? Vegas Kasha. Vegas quotes, or Vegas Rambam, as far as Tshuva, like these two terms in this Kasha. One I'll share with you. He writes the following, that in a Rambam, not every person has to have a moment. There has to be one person present that has the proper moment. And if there's one person in the entire base of Knesset, the entire base of English, that has the right for one of the since we are a Rabbin, we become attached to his source. And I feel the sword of Shemayim together with us. And this is true. In fact, of all the mitzvahs that we do them together with the Rabbin. And one part of that Rabbin is the Chayim L'Shem Shemayim, does the mitzvah. At the fullest level, the way we're supposed to, so Rabbin is together with us on all our efforts to succeed because of that. When we join together as a Rabbin, we have the strength of each and every offer. The Kedusha, the sanctity that everyone brings in his Avodah, shared by all of us, and gives us the power to accomplish, especially with this undertaking that's on behalf of our Yisrael. Our goals, our responsibilities are HaRabanim are the following. In the first October of the 3 weeks, we had Divrei Yirmiyahu and Yirmiyahu and HaKohen Moshe Manosos. And Yirmiyahu is the prophet of doom. He comes to tell the Klal Yisrael that the Rebbeinu Shalom said, Atta, the Oikel, the Zor, the Shai came, the Din came, the Tshuva, said that the Chumas Oikel are going to come and lay siege to Yerushalayim, the Mikdash is going to be destroyed, going to be sold, 70 dollars. That's the beginning of that. The end of that third we start paraphrase. Holod the Korosco, the Hosne, Yerushalayim lay. Kindness is all Hashem raises to us. All Yisrael is hated. Zochar lo chesed u'rai. Remember your kindness, your association with me at the beginning. Lest the HaRabanim Mikra Be'eretz Yisrael. V'lo'if lo t'shomu, ro, tovo aleim Moshe. Whoever's going to be machal the Mikdash, I'll take the common. The Rebbeinu Shalom just said during the Yod to declare to Klal Yisrael that I'm upset that I'm going to destroy the Mikdash and take me close. And the next thing he does is tell them, make no mistake, kindness Yisrael Hashem Reishis divorce. The love of the Rebbeinu Shalom is unconditional. As they say in Bris, the Bris that the Rebbeinu Shalom is, we're stuck with the Rebbeinu Shalom there to do the mitzvahs, we can't get out of it. But because of that, the Rebbeinu Shalom is stuck with us, no matter what we do. Zelo U'Mazeh. That's what I noticed when I learned here. But then I found the Medrash. The Medrash is the Alpha Shmoyne, the very beginning of Parak Beis of Yirmiyah. And the Medrash is innocuous, except for the fact of what I just noted. The Medrash states, Holech v'Karosa v'Oznei Yerushalayim le'imor Zu Chilas HaSefer. This is the first Nebuah of Yirmiyah. Ela she'imukta l'moch of the Torah. The Torah is not presented in chronological form. What's marveled, the Rebbeinu Shalom was sent to Yirmiyah to give them the final Kochach, making the sacred base of Mikdash, but he goes over to the destroyed. Well, what does it do? Before Yirmiyah was sent to give one word of the Kochach, Klal Yisrael, is to declare the honor, the love that the Rebbeinu Shalom has for us. After that, Yirmiyah was licensed, sent by the Rebbeinu Shalom to do his work. That's the first aspect of our responsibilities. It's the hour that we have to have with Klal Yisrael. For Rome is to succeed, it's only because he has absolute hour for every need that a need has. Ruchni is Rashi is whatever it may be. There's nothing that's beyond the pale. There's no time that's beyond the pale. People call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're apologetic. I said, I have no problem with it. If you need me at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can call me. My only problem is when a guy called me once at 3:30 in the morning, and the next morning he himself didn't know why he called me. That was a problem. But if you need me at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, the road is there. That's the episode. The Chavetz writes in this Sovereign, if we proceed in that fashion, we'll have tremendous exploit. That's what the Chavetz writes. The second thing, which I want to end, the word Blial is found 2 times in the English. It's found another 6 to 8 times in Das. But in Chumash is found exactly twice. Both of them are Parshas Re'eh. And I wanted to look among the books time done, so where I'm going to find the word Blial. You have to define instruction. It's not always so easy. Much to my surprise, I opened up the Tandansu, and where did I find the word Blial? Under the word Blial, the entire word, put all 5 letters is there, rarity in the Tandansu. And he himself brings 2 perushim other than Rashi's perush of what the shirish of reading the words. But there are 2 places in the Torah that we find the Rayeri Nazas, and there Rashi tells us Blial means B'li oil. The two of the oil of Shemayim. They banded together. The oil that I this horrible rabbi. This is B'li oil, perfect oil for this world. I understand. There's one other place in the Torah that we find, also in Parshas Re'eh. Torah Shnas Hasheva, and yet over in the Bible of Blial. You won't want to lend money. So now Shemitah is going to end, and you'll cancel the debt, so you won't be able to collect. So you'll be reluctant to lend. So yes, Blial I understand when it comes to Israel. But the same title we give to a person that won't lend money because the rate is going to lose money at the end of Shemitah, it's also an outlet, yeah, but the oil. And I realized that's what we have to teach others. There are only 2 things. We have 2 responsibilities in the entire Torah. That's it. One is to remain connected with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have a huge amount of mitzvahs that don't work with that. The other is the Chavetz Chaim writes, is Oil Chesed B'Olam. Chaim, the Loshen writes, the person came to this world with a hatred of those others to help someone else. I was with Rabbi Binyamin Kamenetsky, who says, Tzaddik Baruch Hu once, he was coming out of the Levaya, his friend was him, and he turns to me and he says, you know, he says, my mom reflects on something. As the eights and the doctors and then the only thing that can take along from this world is that which we can go. And that's the oil. The oil of this world is the matter of what is Baruch Hu to be made. The person that's not made it, half the oil of what is Baruch Hu is more. No less a perfect oil than the person that's oil of his own. That's it. There are 2 pillars that the Rebbeinu Shalom asks for us. The matter of what is Baruch Hu to be connected to him. The chesed of those words. There's the Rebbeinu Shalom friends, this organization, those that head it, those that work with it, serve Klal Yisrael in that fashion. For another 80 years, 80 years hence, to come again to celebrate the 2nd 80th anniversary of the Hashem tomorrow. And they'll look back and they'll say that we set forth a dynamic, appropriate example of what it means to serve Klal Yisrael. The Rebbeinu Shalom find favor with our efforts, and He grants us Yaakov Shmaya to succeed. See what with all of your good division.
Thank you.
make sure that the Jewish community and all the communities have equal protection from crime, have equal protection when it comes to education, and that the quality of life for the Jewish community remains strong and solid. There's nobody in the last decade that we know that has been a closer friend to Mayor Eric Adams than our community. The relationship go back over 2 decades. As a state senator, as borough president, the borough president always, and now the mayor, always had a close relationship with the Jewish community, a very special relationship with the clergy community, with the rabbinical community. But tonight, we are honoring 3 distinct, Tonight we're honoring 3 very distinguished young men. The first person, of course, is the senior advisor to the mayor, Joel Eisdorfer. Thank you for being a friend to the Jewish community for over 2 decades, working with the borough president. Give him a nice hand. Also, Deputy Chief of Staff to the Mayor, a friend of the Jewish community and a strong fighter for education and safety, Menashe Shapiro. And of course, no stranger to us, Fred Kreisman, our Ukrainian friend, who really understands our community from all sides. God bless all of you. So it's wonderful because when the Mayor Adams became the mayor, he committed himself to working with faith-based organizations. That was one of his key objectives of his administration. He established that office, he strengthened that office, he wanted Pastor Gil Monroe to make it a very strong office. Because working together, the mayor can't do anything by himself. He needs to work with us as a community together. And please give a nice warm applause. He's not here tonight, but I'm sure he's here with us in spirit. The mayor of the city of New York, Eric Adams. I want to turn the microphone over to our esteemed President, Rabbi Mendy Grasnick, who put this organization together and who made it a strong voice in Jewry, not only in Staten Island, not only in Brooklyn, but across America. Bringing back the Torah, Igud Hashem, and the serious Nefesh, and I know that Mendy, 24 hours a day, works tenderly for Klal Yisrael. On any issue, anything. Please give him a nice welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Mendy Grasnick.
Thank you, Mark Mayor Pell.
Honored Executive Vice President, Rabbi Mendy Grasnick and Presidium. I am honored to accept my new position as Vice President of Professional Development and External Affairs for the Rabbinical Alliance of America, Igud HaRabanim. Amongst some of my goals are developing articles, programming, continuing education, information, increased opportunities which will benefit our rabbis, rebbezins, chaplains, professionals, and members of our communities. I will continue to develop partnerships, relationships, and collaborations with diverse organizations and agencies in due time. In due time, I hope to expand my goals. Most of all, to continue through my position to enhance and highlight our organization, the Rabbinical Alliance of America, Igud HaRabanim, throughout the United States of America and beyond. Wishing all a Yesira Chazina Tova and a Shana Tova U'Mesuka. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Shalom. You know, with so many opponents, so many rabbis here, I'm sure that we're going to hear a lot of wisdom here. So I would just settle for just to say, just to convey and to send blessings and good wishes from Israel and from the state of Israel. First of all, congratulations on Siyum Shas, and it's wonderful to be again with all of you, many friends here together in person. Thank you again for the invitation and for your friendship. I think that this gentleman over there, Stockmar, thank you very much for coming from Staten Island. He's in the house.
Sorry about that.
I want to congratulate our honorees from the mayor's office, Joe Leithofer, Menashe, and Fred Kreisman. Congratulations on actually a well-deserved honor. I want to thank you and I want to thank the mayor for your friendship, your support. I have to say that these gentlemen here received many phone calls from me personally and from my office. They're always available and they're committed to actually promote this very special bond that we have between the city of New York and the state of Israel. So thank you for that. We're facing in Israel today great challenges. I think that the biggest one is the Iranian threat. We're all trying and to first of all to have a dialogue, a very fruitful and intimate dialogue with the American administration, trying to prevent the return to the Iran agreement. We're following also the South, Gaza, and we're also following the North in Lebanon and the threats posed by Hezbollah. We know that you are here with us, you know that you will stand with us, and we know that you will support. We're also following with great concern the things that happen here, with the rise in anti-Semitism, with the violence against Jews, violence and hatred online, incitement online against Jews, and we're working with you in order to fight this ugly phenomenon. But I have to say that we're not alone, and we have many friends, law enforcement, who are here with us, and we're grateful also on behalf of the consulate for everything that you do and your support and the way you protect the Jewish community here. You're committed to fighting anti-Semitism, fighting violence against the Jewish community. You deserve it. And of course, our keynote speaker, Mayor Adams, who is a great friend of the state of Israel. He's a great ally of the Jewish community here, and we're grateful for his friendship, his support, and his commitment to everything that we do together. So again, thank you very much. I want to wish you Shana Tova, Tiva and Chatima Tova, and really all the very best in this coming year. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Of course, Chief Kemper, Chief Michael Kemper, who's the command officer of the Fort staff. Someone who I admire as a young police officer coming up the ranks. Thank you so much, Chief Kemper, for your leadership, for giving the time to young police officers like myself, so we can see what it means to truly serve, and we can see what it means to grow. We can see what it means to give to others. And God willing, with Rabbi Meraz and the leadership of the Rabbinic Life of America, Rabbi Wang, we'll be able to continue giving that life and that resource to the younger generation of police officers. Thank you so much, Chief Kemper. Joel Eisdorfer, our senior advisor to the mayor, a great friend, wanted to call you a friend, Joel. Thank you so much for everything. Deputy Chief of Staff to the mayor, Nasha Shapiro, thank you for your leadership and your friendship. And Commissioner of the Mayor's Community, Fred Kreisman, thank you so much. And finally, my wife, my amazing wife, Mary. Today we have 5 beautiful children, 5 beautiful daughters. My wife Mary, I couldn't have anything. None of this, my position, my friendship, my circle, none of this would be going on without you. None of this would be going on if I didn't have your full support. I love you. Thank you so, so much. Thank you. Kyle, Shira, Muhammad, and Tara, and Hannah, thank you so much. All the friends, David, thank you for everything. And we'll continue the great work together. Thank you so much.
This week's cover reading is Parshas Kisavon, and the opening theme of Parshas Kisavon is Ula Bikurim, the brand new fruits that a farmer bought in the ancient days in Jerusalem to the Kohen, Kohen Gadol. He bought a henna, he bought a basket, Shevanina, the great fruits. And the obvious question that all the biblical commentators ask, that Moshe Rabbeinu was saying his farewell address. He was departing from Klal Yisrael, and he takes out time to discuss Bikurim. Why? And the answer is that nothing moves without Bikurim. Bikurim means 2 words: thank you and showing appreciation. Tonight, we are very grateful. We're grateful to have the people that run the city of New York with us. We have Menashe Shapiro, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff to the Mayor. We have Joel Eisdorfer, who is a Senior Advisor to the Mayor. We have Fred Kreisman, Vishal Kreisman, who is the Commissioner of the Community Affairs Bureau of the Mayor. What I feel proud about is that these gentlemen, not only are they qualified and highly qualified, and they're facing struggles that no one can imagine that the city of New York in recent memories faced. If you want to know the greatness of the mayor, look at the people who he surrounds himself with. Look at the caliber of staff that the mayor surrounds himself with. Shows you how genuine the mayor is in bringing the staff to the city back. And in the interest of the Bikurim, we are offering tonight a proclamation of honor. This is the least we can do to say the word, Yashikoyah, and thank you. In order to set the stage correctly, the record correctly, the highly respected Rabbi Ambassador Sir Michael Melnick, the Honorable Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Igud HaRabanim Rabbinical Alliance of America. Ambassador Rabbi Melnick, please.
Good evening. Congratulations. Thank you for the introduction. Distinguished rabbis, members of the New York finest, those who every day took their lives to protect us, we got to protect them. A good friend and best son, Rizzo, Councilman Gager, distinguished guests. I don't want to be redundant. Everybody mentioned on Easter night. The all good friends of mine who know each other for many, many years. So I got a few words of each one to know that if I would not have got it down, but not jotted down a few words, but it's talked about each individual for a long, long time. The time is limited. First, I'd like to introduce my good friend we know for a long time, who is the governor's office, Mr. Fred Kreisman, the commissioner of the Union Distinguished honor to give him the Community Leadership Award. Just a few words before he comes up, or you can come now also. Mr. Kaiser helped to develop and implement powerful strategies throughout the 5 boroughs with a goal to reach new and inspection communities wherever anyone needs anything, no matter Jewish, non-Jewish, we are all citizens of New York City, is here to help all. Provide guidance to board directors and invite the commissioner on community outreach issues. What else do we do? Coordinate ongoing community breakfasts and civics with the mayor anywhere they ask to go. Maintain relations between elected officials, community leaders in the city hall, and all 5 boroughs. Oversees coordination community-based meetings with the city agencies. A man that not only works, and he happens to be Jewish, and helps the Jewish people, but he helps all the citizens of New York City. Then I'd like to introduce Commissioner Fred Biden to come up on the
Oops. Turn it around. Maybe turn it around.
Yes, I know this man for many, many years.
Right.
We go to the eyes over. See the advisor today. Few words about for all of us to know who he is and what he does, and I hold down. Go to the eyes over, see the advisor to Mayor Eric and the first Hasidic Jewish to join the city administration, but not only because it's Hasidic, but it's for all the Yokerism we said about Mr. Kleisman. He helps anywhere, 24 hours, 7 days a week, not on Shabbos, without the phone, but if you ever need him, he's always there. Commissioner, Mr. Advisor, your eyes open. When I'm holding the mic, I'll say, will you come here with me? Next, and I don't know him as well as Commissioner Gleisman, Mr. Eishofer. I heard a lot about him, and I met him a few times. Menashe Shapiro, Deputy Chief of Staff to Mayor Adams. Outstanding Partnership Award. Mr. Shapiro, the Deputy Chief of Staff, said he found Eric Adams applied nothing short of miraculous. What did that mean? And that the mayor's intention and to going, that's his motto today, get stuff done. And he means every word that he says, get stuff done. Maybe he's wanting to join the team. Mr. Shapiro was a key advisor to the campaign. Said the new administration reflects the diverse coalition the Adams put together during the primary and will be on the open door policy.
The mayor has been able to count on me as a partner on the other side of the building, but one of the reasons that we're able to do that and have a relationship is because of these 3 guys and a few others that are not here tonight. And you look at the trust that the mayor has put in people from our community, and it's incredible. Yeshiva educated, something that I've been talking about. I started talking about this several years ago before I ran for the first time. And if you remember, at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, it was a few months before the pandemic, we had a different pandemic, anti-Semitic hate crimes of really murders in Muncie, Jersey City. And I went on the Board of Council in January, and I talked about the youth did this speech. And it wasn't my intention, but what I talked about are the things that the media says, the things that the left-wing, far-left politicians, the ones who tinker at the fringes of anti-Semitism, but they have Jewish last names, so you can't call them anti-Semites. But some of us are happy to take pictures with them when they come to our Menorah or food distribution or whatnot. I'm not looking at anybody specifically, we know who you are. And those anti-Semitic politicians, together with the media, is what has caused the hate crimes in the city. The New York Times has been working on this vile, disgusting piece for a year. I got a call late last night, from a former council member. I'm going to say who he is by how I describe him. He's one of my close friends, and he was the only Muslim council member in the last session of council. And he called me up and he said, I read the piece, it's very long, and the only thing that I can come away thinking about is the same. That's the impression that the educated have. The uneducated have what Menashe talked about, what we've been talking about, the vile attacks on our community. We have a mayor who stands with us. There are not enough elected officials. So I would ask people who are in the business of taking pictures of elected officials and taking pictures of elected officials, if you see one who doesn't stand up with us, who doesn't stand for us, who tinkers at the fringes of anti-Semitism, who maybe hold the other two citywide offices, other than the mayor's office, and you ask them, where are you on yeshiva education? And they don't stand with us, don't stand with them. That's the message, and we have to do that, because if we don't continue to give the oxygen that they need, the microphone is a politician's oxygen, they will stop. So on that, the longer that I've attended to do so many. So
Go on even longer.
Going if you
Saying
want.
the truth.
All these guys are
Saying the
standing
truth.
here, it's something that has to go back home. But I do want to say, that it's not the first time that I've been to Igud, it's not the last time, Mr. Chairman, I'll be there as often as you invite me and let me know.
Always want you.
I appreciate it. Mazel tov to those who partook in the Siyum HaShas.
שגוזלים את אדמות המדינה. לכן התורה אומרת, תזכור, עליך לא רק להשתא, אלא גם לישבת בה. ולקחת מראשית כל פרי אדמה. מוריי ורבותיי רבננטים, is giving to the עניים during the year, every week, 3,000 people. בראשית כל פרי אדמה. היא צדקה בחסד. רבננטי has so much זכויות that is helping the people, the poor people, the families. I just want to bless him, שהקדוש ברוך הוא ייתן לו כוח ובריאות, את הפסוק יתקיים בו, ושמחת בכל הטוב אשר נתן לך השם אלוקיך. He'll be happy all his life, ושיזכה לשנים רבות יבוא בטובות. ואני רוצה בהזדמנות הזאת להביא ברכת ארץ ישראל. I just came this morning to be here. It's a good for me that I came to give the ברכה of ארץ ישראל. תזכו לשנים רבות ללמוד בטובות.